Morning, everybody. Normally at this time, if you've been around here a while, you know this. Normally at this time, we'd have a little time for Q&A, where some questions that had come in during the message, we'd spend a little time talking about it. But today, there's just some family conversations we feel we need to have. Last week, we stood up here and we talked to you about what's going on in FCC Kids, and how in FCC Kids we've been making some pretty notable adjustments over the past few months. And really a lot of it is a move toward life groups for them, giving them more time to interact with each other. And the reason for that is because it puts them into an environment where they have caring and consistent peers and leaders kind of working through life with them. It gives them a place where they belong. Like, these are their people. It really meets one of these core needs that we all have. Like, we all have this need to care for others and to be cared for by others. We need that. And as Brian put it a couple weeks ago, a phrase he used was that circles are better than rows. When it comes to this, circles are better than rows. Like, sitting in a circle and having a conversation is a lot healthier than for that purpose than sitting in rows. Rows are good for receiving information. They're not real good for processing information, for living life together, for working through. And so we've been so pleased with the impact that's been making on our kids. A couple weeks ago, I had the chance to walk through on a Sunday morning and just watch what's going on, and to see their engagement with each other, their engagement with their leaders, the way that they're having these conversations and the depth of these conversations is so powerful. And so what we started looking at is we want to find ways to provide more of that for everybody. One of the things we talk about as a church is that we want to meet people where they are and move them closer to Jesus. That's so key for who we are. But we spent a little time looking at maybe some of our structure and realized that we've made that kind of hard for some of you. Let me give you an example. Almost all of our life group time, all of our study time, all of our group time has been focused typically for the majority of us on Wednesday night. But what we know after looking at it is we realize that only 15 to 17% of people here in the church are able to make it to that. We're only reaching 15 to 17% of you, which means that for 85% of you, we're saying, hey, we'd love for you to get closer to Jesus, but you got to do it on our time. It's like, this doesn't seem like a really good, healthy way to go about it. And so, as we started looking at it, what we're going to suggest is that in September, starting in September, we're going to make a number of adjustments to move toward more times to be together in life groups, more time to have people who care for you and people you can care for, more times in circles rather than in rows. And so here's how this is going to work. Let me just kind of walk through a little bit of it, and then they'll give you some more details in a moment. For our kids, for FCC Kids, what we're going to be doing is, rather than relaunching Wednesday nights in the fall, we are going to focus all of our attention on making Sunday morning the highest quality, most impactful thing we can do. So they have time in life groups and they have time in worship. So that all of our attention will move to that. Rather than trying to maintain two large programs, we're going to focus on one really high-quality program. For our 5-6ers, which is our transitionary program for those in 5th grade and in 6th grade, moving out of FCC Kids and trying to help them integrate into the life of the church. For 5-6ers, what we're going to do for them is we're completely reformatting what's going to take place on Sunday morning. And then the adjustment is that we're going to move to one service for 5-6ers, just one service. And the reason for that is because one of the questions we've got from some of them is, hey, how can I be a part of the church? How can I serve in the church? How can I do things in the church? But I'm at these other things too. And plus, we want to be able to get as many of them together as possible. And so for that reason, we're going to move to, starting in September, into one service for 5-6ers. For our student ministry, for our teens, here's what's happening there, is we are going to move away from Wednesday nights and move to Sunday nights for teens. Now, the reason for that is we've talked to a number of teens, talked to a number of parents, and what we know is Wednesday nights are crazy. Right? Trying to get your kids here, or them trying to get themselves here, they've got all the school activities, all the sports activities, all the club activities, all their extracurricular activities, all the other things that have to get done on Wednesday nights. It's just, it can be such a daunting task. And in doing so, we're actually keeping them from being able to be in the life groups that they need to be in, keeping them from being able to have more time to be together, to be able to discuss, to work through things. They need time for movement. And so some of those things are going to be a big part of what's going to happen on Sunday night. So Sunday night will be a completely different format than anything we've done before. So if you've been involved in our student program before, the Sunday nights in September will be a complete shift from that in such a better way. And then for adults, if we're going to meet you where you are, if we're going to meet each other where we are and be moved closer to Jesus, we need to open up our availability, which means we're going to move completely to life groups for adults as well. And the reason I say that is there are some Wednesday night classes that have been great group formats where they really, people have really got connected. But we know it's been very common for people to sit through the same group with people for 13 weeks, and at the end of it, the class is over and people go home and they don't know anybody any more than they did before. And it's only available at one time at one location. So by moving to a life group format, solely to a life group format, it allows people to meet when they're available and where they're available. Allows them to kind of find the time that's best suited for all of them. It allows us to meet people where they are and allows us to be in circles, not in rows. And when we do this, here's what it does. It opens us up to be able to function as a family, to be able to come together, to worship, to have authentic worship together as a family. It allows us the freedom within our time and our schedules and our lives to be able to be in circles. It allows us to faithfully study together as a family rather than just those who can accommodate into the schedule. And this is a big one, is it opens up opportunities for all ages to be able to compassionately serve, to serve one another and to be served as a family. And so we know this is a shift for some of you, but we're so excited about what this means. Let me give you some detail work on this one. If you have a student who is in the 5-6ers group or who is going to be soon, right? So you maybe got a 3rd grader or 4th grader, and you just want to know what the plan is. How's that work? We need some input from you because we need to find the best time. Is it 9? Is it 10:30? Why or why not? How does that work? So on May 21st, right after church, right after the 10:30 service, we're going to provide a meal for you. It's for people who want to know about the 5-6ers program, volunteers, those of you who are 5-6ers or about to be, for parents, grandparents. And we're going to walk through the summer calendar, what's going on for them, and what it will look like in the future, and be able to give you a chance to ask some questions and be able to give you a chance to add some input to how we do this, because we want to find the way that meets the most needs of our families. If you are a teenager or about to be a teenager, 7th grade and up, or if that's something that you're involved in, a ministry you're plugged into, that meeting is going to be on May 21st at 6 o'clock. And again, same thing. If you want to know the summer calendar, that's where we're going to cover the summer calendar for that age group as well. Let you know what's going to take place all summer long. Talk to you about the new things we're going to be doing and the impact that's going to have. So that's coming up. For adults, I encourage you a couple things. One, if you've got specific questions about it, Brian Henry is going to be the best person to contact about that. But you're welcome to contact and ask questions to myself or Brian. Brian will be the best contact for you on that, about what's happening for adult life groups. But here's my encouragement for you in this one. So this isn't going to start until September. And there's some big things coming up for that. We're not going to roll through all that right now. There's some big things coming up for that. But I would encourage you to start thinking right now. I bet a lot of you already have this. You've people that you talk to all the time, people you're friends with, people you sit nearby. And you go, you know what, we should probably make this a bit more formal. Maybe use the summer as a way to start interacting with them. Something that my wife and I are personally doing is some of the people that we've invited to be in our group, we're going to do a couple cookouts this summer just so they can get to know each other. Well, I think we're doing that. I don't know that I've asked her about that yet. Let's just go with that. We are for now. Okay, so that these people can get to interact with each other, get to know each other a little bit better during the summer, so that when we start in September, we've already got some of those relationships, but we don't deal with the stress of the summer calendar. Right? But I'd encourage you, start looking at some people you'd like to be in a group with and go, hey, do you want to do this? For us, it'll be some people out of our neighborhood and then some other people that we've got relationships with, and that'll be kind of our format personally. And so I'd encourage you to start thinking through that, start praying about that, figuring out who the best people are for you, and then know if they don't work, you can find new ones after that, all right? So we just want you to know that that's coming up.